Welcome to another video. I'm excited because we have made so many changes. So the and throughout, Christmas came early. I actually shot a video about this when it first came out. And the first part of the video was actually like the audio cut out because I was moving the mic too much. And so we're doing it again. Hi. Um, Microsoft added Anthropic models to Foundry. I am a huge Anthropic fan. I have stacked up thousands of dollars with them. Um, so if you don't mind, uh, support the video. I don't even think it matters, but I have like what, 7 subscribers. Hi, mom. Yeah, but Microsoft Anthropic released. Wait, Microsoft Azure added Anthropic models. That is a huge deal. Just because I enjoy how Anthropic models talk, and I then it's the weekend of the 23rd. So I went ahead and I updated a lot of aspects of Poly, right? So on the right side here on the screen, where my head is at, is the live version. On the left side is the version that is running locally. Now, for the uninitiated, you'll see that they look more or less the same. The good thing is that also that notifications are synced. Seems like some of them are still old from there, but we're just gonna hop right into it. So some of the things that have changed is I don't think the company creation page has changed, but we did update the team. So a good way to actually see this is the team structure, in which the deployed version is faster. Yes. So in which the teams, right? So if we go to the teams here, they're now only 3 workers. This was like a change. Initially it was like 5 or 6. I did update, which took forever. The company workspace product wait, was product service project teams. These ones had like 6 individuals. So I rewrote their system message and made their system messages better. Added Anthropic to them. So if we actually go into this, yeah. So the system message is in XML because XML is like I found that the agents do a lot better with XML. We also made Poly use Claude. Now this is not deployed yet, but the whole concept is that yes, we have Claude in there somewhere. Um, and so the next thing is like yeah, it's the how the models are, etc. So that was one of the major updates about that related to the models. Because in here, Polly has like a huge personality. We'll actually go through the chat. We'll actually go through the chat. So give me a sec. My video just stopped. Oh my god. Were you able to see what's on the screen though? Let me see. Okay, so I just froze. Okay, let's try to reconnect the camera. All right, we back, I think. Oh yeah, this is a Canon webcam thing that I picked, that I built. Just because like Canon was asking for like $5 a month, and I was like, bro, I already paid thousands of dollars for the camera, bro, and the lens, and y'all want me to do a subscription for this, and your shit doesn't even work. So I built my own shit, for the webcam. So it will work sometimes, but sometimes it won't. Mostly it works most of the time. Unlike Canon's, which doesn't even work. Anyways, yeah, because if you connect, whatever. My whole point is that so I pulled up the same chat here, and one of the things I want you to see is the difference in how mermaid diagrams are displayed. So this mermaid diagram here, there's actually a better chat that can show this. So we did update how the system will handle like diagrams. So you'll have diagrams in chat. So here's a good example of this. This is like, kind of talking about a sales funnel. If you ask it to like generate a mermaid diagram for you, this is how it will look like. Previous to this, when I would ask it for something like this, it would, but they wouldn't. Here's how they would look like, right? And so you'd have to zoom in a lot more, and they don't look like they don't look good. So chat supports mermaid diagrams now, which is amazing. Let's see. And so yeah, so you can see like the mermaid, like we've always supported mermaid diagrams, but now you have like they're expanded and they're easier to view in the chat window. Especially if you expand the chat window, so this is how it looks like when it's compressed. If you don't want to use the pop-up chat, you can also just use the main chat here. So I'll actually go ahead and pull that up here. You can go ahead and kind of use it here as from the bottom. So here's another one. I think that one is still like that. But for the most part, there's some improvements to chat and to how chat is handled. Also, another improvement is actually the addition of the ability to be able to like paste screenshots. And so if I take a screenshot here, I can't paste it. Oh, no, I could. Never mind. We added pasting for this. Pasting screenshots, and Polly can tell you what's in the screenshot and kind of help you out with that. Polly also has the ability to make Markdown files now. And so yeah, so if I went back here and I'm like, hey, no, not that one. Anyways, so my whole point is that yeah, chat is better. So let's see. The next thing is actually the workspace creation screen. So the workspace creation screen also went through an overhaul. So this on the right is what it looks like right now. The cards are a lot bigger. They don't need to be this big, to be honest. So it's getting hot. They don't need to be this big, to be honest. So what what I want, what I ended up doing is actually on the right here, on the left here, you can see that I made them smaller, so it's just easier to navigate and look through all your companies. And so you can actually like, you'll select the company you want, and then it'll show you like the larger card. The KPI is also being updated, especially if you auto run the company. So we should actually go through this. So when you go to the company page and you see your companies here, we have like an auto update feature. This means that you'll have the AI agents basically auto update the actual like company, right? So they'll rerun it again. Let's say there's some new information. Let's say you added some files to the workspace. The thing is that you'd basically want them to rerun and to update it. The other thing is that we actually cleaned up this a lot. So I'll actually, I'll go to my own here. Let me actually do this. Yeah, there we go. So if I go back to my companies and actually pick Polly, you'll see that we added this business context section is there, but it was initially like this random stuff here. So we actually have in it the business context actually shows you now your workspace if you have one, and your portfolio, like your product if you have one, right, associated to the company, right. So that's important because yeah, you're able to see these. They're not clickable yet. I think that's something that I'll add later. But yes, you can also update the description here of your company. You can also upload a logo to your company so that it shows up in all the workspaces and products, projects, or services that you have. You can also edit your, this is not new features, but this is what already exists right now. You can edit your mission statement, your vision statement, your market positioning. We also have, this is in both sides where we have your business model components. And then there's visualizations here right now, right? So we understand your revenue stream, we understand your customer segment. Another way to actually make these work is to just upload documents that explain what these are, because Poly defines these for you, but it needs more data to define it better, right? So here's kind of the OKRs, the KPIs, and the objectives that we're tracking for your business. So that's what we have for the business. For the creation page of the company, basically you're just pasting a URL here, and we're not really doing, uh, I mean, we're doing a lot of research. So when you actually paste a URL there, it will it will like go into the background and start doing it, especially if you want to like do multiple companies, for example, if you're running an agency. So here you'd be able to actually see that and run that. So we're going to move on to the workspace here. So the workspace creation page is a lot cleaner. The cards are a lot smaller. So what you're going to do here, kind of like you did here, is you're going to click, let's say, I'll pick Anthropic, and let's say we want to create a workspace for Anthropic. So you can see here that this has changed. So here you see the full card. Here you kind of see not the full card. This also changed to this other side. And also, you have selected here. So the section here also is updated. In the new version, we explain a bit more what a workspace is. And a workspace is a hub for you to store your files. It's a place for us to decompose the KPIs of the company into smaller, more achievable versions of themselves. So the workers can actually execute that, right? The files that you upload in your workspace are actually what are used later in workflows, and also to be able to update the company and for various things, right? So and also workers will be able to save files into the workspace, especially resources that you define as Markdown, right? And so that's the other part. The other thing is like process mining. That the files that you store in the workspace um, are going to be used for process mining. So we can understand, SOPs are really important here, and defining those and adding those and setting those up, right? Um, Let me see. Is that good? I don't, I can't tell if it's like, zoomed in enough. Anyways, yeah. So here, what you're gonna do is at the bottom here, you're gonna click, basically create workspace instantly, and it'll do all that for you. And then you can go in and you can actually change. Like add files, and when you add a file, so let me actually take you to a workspace details page. Yeah, so this section didn't explain what this was. The design was also off. So we update that. I updated that from what that was. So we're gonna go into the workspace of Poly here. Wait, is the card different? Look at that. No, it's the same. So we're gonna go to the workspace of Poly here. It shows the company, which makes sense because we're in the workspace. We did remove these cards down here just because the overview cards, the resources, all that. I think I'll replace them with better cards later, or better badges and better ways to visualize that information. I just don't like how it looks like right now. We're gonna go into the resource section here, and we're gonna go, obviously, the files that you've uploaded, you'll be able to like see them here. I think that, yeah, this is broken in, and I think what it was that we the URLs weren't being allowed to load in the front end component here. But yeah, you can read the files that you uploaded. You can take a look at them here. And so we have markdowns here too, like the ability to also visualize markdowns. The markdown, we will change the markdown a little bit later to add the ability to see mermaid diagrams that are in the markdown and render them the same way that we're rendering them in the chat. And the whole reason for that is actually so that later on you can actually print a markdown from Poly that is a report, for example, with diagrams, and it looks good and pretty and all that stuff. So here's where you'll see workflows. This is broken right now because this company does have this workspace does have a ton of different workflows, so that's something that will come in later. It's just a tab right now, so you can see which workflows are part of a workspace. So we're gonna go into the portfolio page. So the portfolio page also kind of underwent a similar change to what the workspaces pages did. which it's also standardized. Across the board, a lot of this is not standardized, just so that it looks better. So on the left side here, you can see that the portfolio cards, the updates that are coming, the workspace cards are smaller, similar to the changes that we made in the workspace creation page, right? So here you can see that they're larger. This looks terrible. So this is also why when it came to selecting what type of product, project, or service you're gonna work with here, this is how we I'd vibe coded this. Actually, it wasn't vibe coded. I think I was testing out like a different LLM for this. Um, I think it's GPT 5.1. Um, and so it had like done this stuff. So yeah, I had to change that. I couldn't let that be. Um, yeah, but for the most part, the left side just, the card got a little bit bigger. Nothing much really changed. I do kind of like this button here on the old version, but it's okay. We're just standardizing it, and I think, you lose some, you win some. And so here, also it's a good thing because it's now, the new update that's coming in is going to explain what is a product, what is a project, what's a service, and why do we define them as portfolio items, because I didn't want to have to create a page for each one of those. I think that's just a little too much for me to handle. Um, and so and so now you can create a product, project, or service. You can define what that is for us here. And so this is the updated page for this. The reason why this is important actually is because if you go to the workflow store, you'll see that when you let's say it's an Instagram DM receptionist here, you're gonna have to deploy this to a product, project, or service, right? So you'll actually, you're adding a workflow to a product, a project, or service. So you do need to do all that, right? In the future, you're not gonna have to do all that because I am gonna build in a sort of subconscious layer to Poly where it's gonna be a console of polys, which is gonna be like different versions of poly, and they're gonna look at your data and look at the gaps between, let's say, the workspace. Like if you have a workspace but you don't have a product, project, or service set up for it, then they'll kind of create that for you based on the data. And that's the tough part actually, because initially we didn't actually force you to choose whether it was a product, project, or service. We would just like tell the workers, hey, go figure it out based on the files that you have in the workspace. And so we changed that though, so you can tell us definitively like whether it's a product, project, or service that your company is offering, so that we can actually, it saves us tokens. Also, there was an entire team that actually handled that, and so we simplified that and removed that. Um, what else? We added a podcast feature with like 600 voices that you can just paste information into here. Let me see. Did I actually finish? Yeah, so that's the update. Sorry. That's the update for these sections. Especially the major updates, because I majorly redesigned the creation pages for the workspace and the creation pages for the portfolio item. Just because yeah, that's just that took some time to do, and like I designed both the front end, also rebuilt the teams and their prompts. And so you got to remember, each one of these is a team of agents. So this is like, three teams of agents here, and each team of agent had like between 5 to 3 different workers, and each of them have to have their prompts perfected. And so yeah, it's just complicated. Shout out to Microsoft for sponsoring us, because this wouldn't be possible without them. Um, and so yeah, and so I mean, it's because of them that we're able to actually like do a bunch of the 600 voices things, stuff like that. So what to expect moving forward? With this perfected, it's probably now just going to be focusing on workflows. Workflows do exist and they do work. I mean, I have workflows that work here. Um, I have workflows that work here. I also did add token tracking per user. And that will also come in soon here, so you can see how many tokens you are burning through, or I can see how many tokens I'm burning through. And so yeah, these are started. These do work. It's just saying not started right now because there's a bug over here. But I am going to change the Instagram and Facebook teams to make them maybe tighter, but update their system prompts for those workers to make them more like better, especially because if you look at how the teams right now look like, we have Azure GPT 5.1 and then GPT Mini, right? So if we go into the Instagram team, it's all GPT-5 and they're not updated to the new prompt design and they're not updated to the new to the new models. And so they're going to get a revamp and it's going to be really amazing. One of the things that I actually want to add to those teams is the ability for them to define and save files as markdowns in your workspace as, let's say, a file that would describe your marketing strategy or a file that would describe, oh yeah, we added a calendar. Where's that calendar? I actually don't like it. I'm probably just gonna like remove it at some point in the future. But yeah, the calendar is here. Ugh, gross. That design is terrible. But yeah, so we do have a calendar, a social calendar for the content calendar that the workers would come up with. So here I push that. Hmm, you don't say. When? Who did this to us? Yeah. So we are loading this information. It's just yeah, we're not like showing it properly. So we'll this will also undergo a huge revamp. Like the whole social aspect of this will undergo a huge revamp as I revamp the teams here, make sure the teams are better. Um I actually also, I haven't done like shown you guys this, but I did redesign how the creatives are created. So you can see here that you can select your models. If you select a model that you're able to upload files into, then you can do it from here. Let's say you created an image that you want to change, you can do it here, and then you can kind of have that image. You can change that image from here. Sora is also here. And Sora is also like, you can select an image from your history that you use to generate. And then you can use that image to generate a video with it. We are tied to what Microsoft is able to do here. They don't support right now, as I mean, this was like a month ago, so maybe this has changed. But the the LLM is not going to actually create the video using the image you have because they haven't figured out some things on their side. So this is not our code's problem. That's a problem on their side. I think that they're fixing it. But yeah, you can also see that I'm sort of starting to standardize a look and feel across most of them. These work now. Initially, they didn't actually work. So the filters in the creatives overlay work. They used to not work. I swear. I mean, they're working right now, which is good. But they used to not work. But they work now. So good. Um yeah. So I think yeah, here I was talking to Polly actually and asking Polly to generate a like what sort of profile image would Polly want for itself. It came up with some interesting ideas. Um I think I think I don't know, let me know in the chat. This shit is cold. Yeah, this Facebook one killed it. I remember I saw this and I was like, yeah, nah, this shit is cold. This shit is cold. Shit is so cold. Damn, I might just make that shit my profile image, bro. Goddamn. Let me see. Yeah, nah, that shit is cold. That shit is cold. Um, yeah. So, there's probably a lot more than this. It's just probably not saving them properly. Yeah, nah, that shit is cold, bro. That shit is cold. That's so cold. All right. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. You can create podcasts. You can that's the like a ton of features. Added to Poly, so you can create your own company. You can add documents to your company. You can then create a product, a project, and service for your company. Then you can chat with Poly about that data, right? So chat with your data is enabled right now. So you're able to actually go in here and be like, hey, let's see, hey, oh, obviously you can also just do a voice note. So you could just be like, hey, Polly, I was wondering, can you look into my like can you pull up my pull up my companies, let's see the files that we have in like the workspaces. Let's look at the files for like dgrid. Let's look at the files for IV Columbia. Let's look at the files for like what can you learn from those files in those workspaces, so that I can just make sure that RAG works. I'm making a video right now, so say what's up to the people. So transcription works. I love transcribing. It's the only way that I speak. This has always been working. Not always. Like I'll probably have like a regression here or there, but it'll typically like work. And so yeah, expect that to work. And so yeah, you can chat with your data right now. Start mapping now. Start thinking about things. It can email you. Probably can email you. Um, and the value proposition right now is probably that, we have, you can chat with your company data. And then also it's that this is setting up the layers for you to be able to, you can basically also, start adding, especially if you have Facebook. We haven't gone through a Facebook approval process. That's probably the next thing that I'll be doing next week. I promise. But yeah, the for the most part, what we're gonna have to do here is, for you to use things like Facebook content creation, content automation, you're gonna need to log in with your Facebook business account. And that's not enabled right now for anybody who's not me. So you're gonna have to use your Google. If you use the same email that you have on your Google and the same email that you have on your Facebook, those accounts will be linked. And so you can use your Google to get started right now, create a company, create a workspace, create a product, add files to your workspace. Um, and then from there, you can be able to now not only make content plans, you can, obviously use it to chat with. This is pretty much free right now, right? So if you know the URL, you can just log in and actually start using it. So just a ton of things have updated. Looking forward to making more changes, especially to have it help me do grants, do campaigns, like content creation, scripts, um, just like fun things like the podcast, for example, being able to do like video essays with it, and like just thinking about that, all that fun stuff, right? So thank you so much for watching. This is going to take some time, just because I asked it for quite a bit. So it's going to go through this. We don't have streaming because ADK doesn't support streaming for models that are not Google. Google, sponsor me, bro. you know I fuck with your voice models. Fix that shit first before you sponsor me. Jesus. Oh man. Yeah, check it out. Try it out. If you have a company, if you're solopreneur, if you run an agency, obviously this is really good for an agency, for example, because I'm doing the Kenyan thing, man. As a Kenyan, we don't know how to say goodbye. We don't know how to end it. We just like, and one more thing, and one more thing. And yeah, but if you're an agency such as ours, you can then be able to like create a bunch of your client companies here, and start working with them, right? These are research, yeah. Um, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in another one.